Never let a crisis go to waste. That is something that Democrats have been saying for a very long time. Anytime a tragedy happens, an atrocity, you'll see Democrats there trying to turn it into a political issue, a racial issue, a social justice issue, something that can allow them to increase their narrative or accomplish things in their agenda. This has been going on for decades now, and it's no different. The Boulder, Colorado shooting has now opened the door to something that they've been wanting to carry out for some time, a ban on assault weapons. Now, this is going to be really difficult for them to accomplish, despite the fact that they have a majority in the House and the Senate, and they control the executive branch. There is something standing in their way. So there's two things that they really need to get rid of, that they really want to get rid of, really. Assault weapons, quote unquote, which don't really, that doesn't really classify as a descriptor for any of these guns. You can use any gun for assault. But what they are trying to say is AR-15s or semi-automatic rifles, or even maybe semi-automatic guns, period, which constitute the vast majority of the firearms owned in the United States. That's one of the things they're trying to get rid of. The other that they're going to have to get rid of in order to get rid of the first thing is the filibuster. Now, the filibuster is standing in their way in the Senate. It's standing in their way from accomplishing pretty much anything they want to. Anything they want to pass, rushing through any sort of legislation, it is all stopped by the filibuster. The filibuster stops the Senate from just using a simple supermajority from passing anything they want. They have to have bipartisan support, namely the support of 10 Republicans. Without it, the Democrats could do whatever they want with the United States at this point. And right now, they're focusing on both of those things. This is from Fox News. Biden aides Harris gun control calls have included seizing assault weapons. Now, this article kind of dives into how people really thought about mandatory gun buybacks, which is effectively seizing your weapons. It is forcing you to hand your weapon over to the government for compensation, a number of dollars given back to you for your gun. I can guarantee you that the amount of money that they're going to give back to you is not what the gun is worth. But regardless, many people decided they were for them. Right now, Joe Biden seems a little hesitant to be for them, but it has been said by many a Democrat that they are going to take your weapons. Beto O'Rourke famously said that during the campaign. He said, hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15s. Jen Psaki at the time tweeted out, thank you, Beto O'Rourke, take guns. Please, no one needs an assault weapon. This is a crisis. It's not a crisis, folks. It's not a crisis. They are trying to make this into a crisis. But we're going to continue. This is from Fox News. Democrats have re-upped their calls for gun control in the wake of the shooting in Colorado this week that killed 10 people in a grocery store. The White House confirmed that Biden's stance supporting voluntary gun buybacks or else forcing owners to register under the National Firearms Act has not changed. But it did not address questions from Fox News asking whether mandatory gun buybacks are on the table for the president or if Biden would veto any bill that includes such a program no matter what else is in the bill. So we're not sure where they're going to go with it right now. The Biden administration, or I'm sorry, as we're supposed to call it now, the Biden-Harris administration, isn't making it clear what exactly is on the table. Now, we can kind of sort of guess by what they've said during their campaigns. They were all bluster about seizing guns. You know, they were very hardcore about it. Now, with Biden in charge, he doesn't seem to be giving us a really good idea of what is in store for us. But we know that they're going to start trying to push forward legislation in order to make certain guns illegal, to be able to try to force us to turn them in. That is very clear. That is what they want. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer has said he plans to bring House-passed gun bills to the Senate floor in the wake of the Colorado shooting, and Harris on CBS Wednesday called for legislation on guns. Harris said Biden isn't excluding executive action on limiting access to firearms, adding that in order to take lasting action, Democrats will have to pass a bill. Biden has also called for the Senate to pass the House gun control bills. The House bills notably do not include a ban on, quote, assault weapons, let alone mandatory gun buybacks. Some congressional Republicans have expressed openness to negotiating with Democrats on some form of a gun bill, but it is highly unlikely that a mandatory buyback would clear the 60-vote Senate filibuster hurdle required to get to a final vote. And it is not clear how much common ground there is between Democrats and Republicans on this issue. Republicans, of course, love their guns, And any Republican that really votes for any kind of bill that allows for the seizure of guns is not going to go over well. That Republican will likely lose their job. They will not be voted back into office. So Republicans are likely going to stand in the way of this, which is good. Now, as I said, though, one of the biggest problems standing in their way, in the way of the Democrats, is the filibuster. So now they're looking at the filibuster. Democrats using mass shootings to push for killing the filibuster. This is from Jeff Charles. It's on the front page of Red State right now. In the latest episode of Never Let a Good Crisis Go to Waste, Democrats hope to use 2 crises to push their agenda after 2 mass shootings that didn't seem to involve white supremacy, despite the fact that Democrats actually said that it was originally. That video also was made yesterday. Link happening right now at the top of the screen. The left has pivoted to gun control. But even more interesting is the fact that they are also using the 2 incidents to try to gain support for ending the filibuster. On Tuesday, Representative Presley posted a tweet calling on Senate Democrats to end the filibuster so they can ram through their radical anti-gun agenda without having to worry about Republicans blocking the measure. She said, "The trauma of gun violence in our communities is endless." She tweeted this out. "It's time that we abolish the filibuster and pass meaningful gun control legislation. Background checks, automatic weapon ban, gun licensing, and so much more. Enough is enough." And then you had activists, celebrities all day tweeting out agreement. "We need to ban assault weapons, quote unquote. Ban this, ban that. We got to get our gun control, our gun problem under control." Here's the thing. Killing the filibuster is not going to be something that is very easy to do, namely because in order to kill the filibuster, you have to have Republicans agree to kill the filibuster. And once again, supermajority can't happen. The filibuster is a necessary tool to stop the Senate from any party in the Senate that is in complete control from just running rampant, which is a very good thing. It keeps it's a check and it's a balance for our government. It needs to stay put. So now, however, because Democrats want complete and total control, they want to be able to ram through whatever legislation they want. They want to kill this filibuster. Really says a lot to you about the Democrats that they want to eliminate whatever is in their way in order to gain complete and total control. But here's the thing. Now Biden, who used to be kind of up in the air about killing the filibuster, now supports it. This is from the Daily Wire. Biden now supports ending filibuster, held meeting on how big, fast he can jam through agenda. This is scary, folks. This is very scary. If they are now going to turn their entire attention to the filibuster, you can bet that there's going to be huge calls from media activists, Democrats in office, influencers on the left, to have this war against the filibuster start. The mainstream media is going to attempt to fool people into thinking that the filibuster is evil and somehow racist. It's already, those calls are actually starting to go out. But let's continue with this Daily Wire article. Democrat President Joe Biden reportedly held a recent secret meeting in the White House with historians, quote unquote, to discuss how big of an agenda he could push and how fast he could jam it through. The agenda that Biden is pursuing would bring once-in-a-lifetime historic changes to America, according to Axios. Democrat Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer declared in November that if Democrats won both U.S. Senates and the Georgia runoff election, that Democrats would, quote, change America. The historian's views were very much in sync with his own. It is time to go even bigger and faster than anyone expected. And then, if that means chucking the filibuster and bipartisanship, so be it, the report said. People close to Biden tell us he's feeling bullish on what he can accomplish and is fully prepared to support the dashing of the Senate's filibuster rule to allow Democrats to pass voting rights and other trophy legislation for his party. This isn't just about gun control, folks. This goes far and away, all sorts of things. Without the Senate filibuster, he can pass anything, like, for instance, making it official that women and men are interchangeable. If a woman says that she is a man, or if a man says that he is a woman, that is now federal law. You can't be arguing with that. The extent to the things that taxes can get raised beyond anything that you could even possibly imagine. Socialism could effectively take over the United States. And if if the takeover of the Democrat Party by the social justice left is on track, then you can bet that socialism is going to take hold in the United States like never before. This is why the filibuster is so important. People need to understand that without that filibuster, without that check in place, the Democrats could run wild over America, and it is scary the kind of things that they would actually pass in order to feel like they're doing good. The agenda that Biden wants to enact includes a crackdown on the Second Amendment, passing a highly controversial election reform bill, and a radical climate agenda. The controversial election reform bill that they're referring to is HB 1, which would effectively keep Democrats in power for over 100 years, easily, making it so that they could cheat if they wanted to. It is effectively keeping the mail-in ballot in place as a permanent fixture, not just for emergency purposes, but a permanent fixture in the United States. The report says that Biden reportedly, quote, loves the media-generated narrative that he's bolder and bigger thinking than President Obama. So now we're looking at a pride thing. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said this week that Biden is in regular contact with former President Obama to consult with him on a wide range of issues. The news that Biden now reportedly supports ending the filibuster comes after Biden recently said this month that he only supported making changes to the filibuster and not eliminating it. The week before Biden said he supported making changes to the filibuster, the White House signaled that he did not support making changes to it. During the campaign, Biden stated that he did not support eliminating the filibuster because doing so, quote, raises problems that are more damaging than the problems that exist. He's not wrong. He wasn't wrong then. But if the reports are true, then we are looking at a war on the filibuster. We already see from Representative Presley that the social justice left is going to start really pushing for its elimination. And if they are successful, then it's more or less over for America, folks. The filibuster needs to stay in place. But this is exactly why we need to stay attentive to what's going on in Washington. These little changes, this little filibuster that many people don't know about, they don't know it's there, is keeping America intact right now. Now, we have the Supreme Court that could really stop any unconstitutional legislation, but Supreme Courts have been known to be pretty unreliable at the best of times. This is how Obamacare got passed. Something that is clearly an unconstitutional law became law because they basically reworked it to make it work. And we do not want to see anything like this happen under the Biden administration. If it does, folks, we are in trouble. So by all means, make sure that your senators know that the filibuster needs to stay exactly where it is, that it should not move, that nothing should happen to it. And hopefully, we will come out of this on the other side. And when I say coming out of this on the other side, I mean by the time the midterms roll around. The Democrats are going to push very hard, for very quick passage of legislation. Their time is limited. It is probably pretty certain that they are going to lose even more seats during the midterms, thanks to Joe Biden and his unfulfilled promises, thanks to a lot of the weirdness coming from Joe Biden. He has not been speaking to the people. He does not take questions, and you can see his approval rating starting to drop. If his approval rating is starting to drop, then it's likely that Democrats aren't going to do much better. So they only have a limited amount of time, and the filibuster is in their way. Make sure your senators know that the filibuster is not going to go anywhere. I'll see you in the next video. Hey, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it or learned anything, please hit that like button and be sure to subscribe and hit that bell notification icon so you're made aware when we upload new content. See you in the next video.